Hi, this is Zach Thurtell with Insight Media, and I'm here today with Alysse Henkel. Alysse is the Vice President of Research and Insights with the Vision Council. Alysse, thanks for joining me today.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. So we're talking today about smart eyewear, which is a really hot topic today in the industry and here at Vision Expo. The Vision Council just released its Focused Insights 2025 Smart Eyewear Report. So this is free to access for all Vision Council members. There's some great research in there about smart eyewear. And so the report highlights consumer awareness and purchasing consideration trends in smart eyewear. I just have a few questions that came out of the report for you today. The first one, the report showed a significant rise in awareness and interest among consumers since 2023. So just in the last 2 years, that big increase there. So how would you characterize the current smart eyewear market?
Yeah, so I think when we first did this study in 2023, we saw that 44% of American adults had never heard of smart eyewear. And now 2 years later, that's at 16%. And so now we're hearing that 58% have heard of it or know exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a big change over 2 years, where we've essentially seen awareness double.
Yeah.
And so I think that the market overall, this is like giving us a good indicator that the market is going from like very niche kind of emerging market to a little bit more in the sort of maturity stages. While there is not complete awareness of smart eyewear, there more than half of folks know what smart eyewear is, which is a really big market potential in the US.
Yeah, and again, just in the last 2 years to see that's kind of an increase.
Well.
Yeah, that's huge. So along those lines, the report also showed a rise in brand recognition with Ray-Ban Meta AI and the Amazon Echo frames. So how do you think ECPs can build on that momentum that we're seeing with the increase in brand recognition?
Yeah, I think one of the things that ECPs need to do, if they haven't done it already, is sort of educate themselves about smart eyewear. I think that generally what we see across the board really with any product is when you have experienced it yourself, when you've tried it yourself, then you're able to talk about it more easily with others. And so that's sort of what I'd recommend for ECPs wanting to, dip their toe in the smart eyewear field, is to get a pair and try it out, see what it's like, so that they can really use their own experience to know whether that's a good fit for their patient base, but then also to know like all these different use cases that you might not read about in a training booklet, but that they might see in their own day-to-day, that really that experiential learning, I think, is going to go a long way with ECPs, both opticians and optometrists, to be able to talk about it in the chair or on the optical floor.
Yeah, it makes sense that hands-on experience in terms of the various features that so then they can talk about it with their patients. It makes sense for sure. Another interesting finding was that from the report was that YouTube and social media, it revealed that those were the primary ways that consumers were gathering information about smart eyewear. So down sort of lower on the list was getting that information from their eye care professional. So do you think there is an opportunity for eye care professionals to take on a bigger role when it comes to educating consumers on smart eyewear?
Yeah, I think it probably can be a complement to what consumers are hearing about in their daily lives, whether it's through social media or YouTube or TV advertisements. Those are the big ways that right now people are telling us they're learning about these products. And it is going to be great for eye care providers to talk about sort of maybe some of the features that you don't hear about on the ads, maybe some of the accessibility features, or maybe it's something about that they really want to focus on patient fit or something like that around smart eyewear with their patients. So I think there is a way for ECPs to talk about it. I think some of the challenge with ECPs being like the primary source is that typically ECPs are only seeing their patients maybe once a year, right?
Yeah.
And so they're getting very little face time with their patients. So it might be on their own social media or on a patient newsletter or other kind of ways that they communicate with patients to let them know they have smart eyewear available in store, so that they're sort of driving traffic to their store, but also providing some education around what the landscape looks like in smart eyewear.
Yeah, makes sense. So all right, last question I have for you. I'm going to ask you to look into your crystal ball a little bit. So,
great.
So with this rise in interest and demand, so what do you think the future holds in terms of sales? Do you expect this momentum that we've seen in the last couple of years to continue to grow over the next few years?
Yeah, so we saw in the survey this summer that we had 1 in 7 American adults tell us that they'd already made a smart eyewear purchase. Now, we gave a pretty broad definition of smart eyewear, so it could include, like a pair of frames that just have a headphone built in with Bluetooth connectivity, and so people could listen from their frames, all kinds of other ways. So there already is a pretty substantial market, is what we're at least seeing in the survey data so far. So it's sort of, if I'm getting out my crystal ball here and thinking about what the future looks like, I think that it's the product category is going to continue to grow. So I think we're going to see some more like really fancy, high-end, new technology. There's already products out with a heads-up display. I think that's going to continue to grow. We're seeing lots of buzz about potential product announcements toward the end of this year or early next year. So I think as these new products get more buzz, we'll probably also see some of the smaller products too emerge on the market. So I think it's going to grow overall, especially I was just talking about this earlier, but wearable technology is also growing at the same time, whether it's a smartwatch or a ring or other ways that you can track sort of biometrics about yourself. I imagine that smart eyewear is going to sort of take a firm place in that wearable technology space.
Yeah,
as well.
they can kind of build off that momentum.
That's right.
For sure. So,
yeah.
All right, Alysse, thanks so much for your time today and for sharing those perspectives on the smart eyewear industry and market.
Happy to do it.
Thank you.
Thanks.